what in the fuck? All this for fame?
Yeah. Well, they do worse than that. Oh, I'm sure you heard.
No, tell me.
Well, I don't want to give too much. They do way worse than that.
Like, okay, what's the most extreme? What's the most extreme thing?
I can't say.
That you know that's been done with other...
Well, you've seen the sacrificial parts. Family members are dying and stuff, and it's like, oh, did they sacrifice? Oh, absolutely they did. Absolutely. A lot of them, especially the ones that don't got talent, and you're wondering, like, how the fuck? How they popping like this? Okay, so they came to them and said, hey, just like you have a regular contract, a music contract, or whatever contract, you have a contract with them. And this is what you're gonna do, and this is what you gotta give up. And they don't even really know the extent to what they're giving up besides the sacrifice, obviously. But it's way more than that. And to get out of the contract, you see these humiliation rituals and things like that. You gotta do a lot to get out of that shit. But you're gonna get what you want in the interim.
He a big guy in the eyes of many, but to me, he's a peon to the elite slave masters who have been controlling him over 30 years. Like in 1991, one of his events was headlined by Heavy D at the time, right? I don't know why many people don't talk about this, but 9 people were killed and another 29 were injured. That was a ritual to show his allegiance to those elites, and that's how he got in the position that he in. It's crazy because in 2021, a similar incident happened at a Travis Scott event. And at this event, the doorway was designed in like the image of a demonic mouth that people were walking in. I think his ritual was to top Diddy's because 10 people were killed at his event and many others injured. You know, a lot of these is no more conspiracy theory. Like even when I first started learning about these things, I thought it seemed like it just sounded crazy. But now after giving my number out and talking to family members of these celebrities and these elite people, it's like, wow, so they really do this?
I learned about Zeus Network is they are demonic. All the contestants' names on this show, even mine, trace back to Greek mythology. I'm an avid reader, so that sparked my interest right there. They changed my name on the show to Pied Piper, which is like some...
To what?
Pied Piper.
What is that?
Which is, like a medieval folklore type of thing. And it's about a dude that leads 120 kids to their death. You know, yeah, bro, it's some sick demonic stuff, bro, that they into, and I can't rock with that.
And they gave you that name?
Yeah, they gave me that name. Like everybody's name on the show traces back to Greek mythology. They got a Greek mythology name, some devilish stuff, bro.
Why couldn't you have your own name?
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit. I'm not gonna lie.
I know they behind the scenes they doing weird stuff.
But you think like
I don't want to speak on that on camera, but I know behind the scenes they doing some weird stuff. They trying to get me to crash out. They trying to play psych games. They got people following me, watching me.
Really?
Yeah,
just
bro.
From being on the show?
Yeah, bro, definitely. I know for a fact. Reaching out to females that I used to fornicate with and they're
telling you like somebody told me, somebody reached out.
For sure. And I know 110% fact they had somebody watching me. For sure.
Why don't you run on with security?
I don't need a security. I got
Death Row, Murder Inc., No Limit, Rap A Lot, Rockefeller. Suge had came over with this idea. We need to cut out the middleman. We need to cut out these Jews.
We wanted to create our own black-owned distribution company.
So nobody knew about the black distribution situation he was setting up for the industry until we had a major hip-hop summit.
So why is the music so important? It's no you. If you get sick, your ass out. It's no retirement, man. There's no dinner.
Suge is brilliant. If you have a budget, Nori has a budget with Def Jam of $1 million. So now it's $1.1 million. Def Jam cuts 100,000.
Very smart.
But Nori has to recoup 1.1.
No sooner as after that summit, he went to New York. Come to find out, Jay-Z was supposed to be the one blew the whistle on the fact that they was having these underground secretive meetings. Rockefeller went on to prosper.
We all saw what happened to Death Row. We saw how they attacked Murder Inc. And, they tried to kill me, so.
Everybody took a L except Jay.
Behind the glitz and glamour of the music industry lies a sinister and hidden truth, a system designed to exploit,
the devil give you all this money, go through all this shit to destroy yourself,
control.
It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual copyright.
And keep artists in a perpetual state of debt.
This is very important because throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice.
I need to innovate what these contracts are, not just for me, but for all artists. It's not about me getting my masters back. It's about freedom.
In this video, I want to cover what that truth actually looks like. For every artist who dreams of fame and fortune, there are countless of others who find themselves imprisoned in a maze of legal jargon and financial pitfalls. Pitfalls that 95% of artists aren't even aware of until they find themselves in a position where they eventually are trapped. The standard recording contract in the music industry promises fame, fortune, and artistic success, but is sadly too often structured in ways that benefits the label more than the artists themselves. Without a thorough understanding of the contract's terms and potential pitfalls, a lot of artists unfortunately find themselves trapped in a cycle of debt, loss of control, and financial instability. These contracts, which we will go over, are meticulously designed to look like opportunities, offering advances that seem like a blessing to artists hungry for their big break. But what's hidden between the lines is a complex web of clauses that ensures the label recoups every cent, often at the expense of the artist. Before we continue, let's take a look at a real-life example, okay? Which is a rapper I'm sure you recognize, Meek Mill. Now, Meek Mill almost 2 years ago went on his public rant against his record label, Atlantic Records. Now the question is, why did he go on this rant? Well, let's just say that he was getting screwed by his own record label because he signed a contract not knowing what he was signing off on. I made $11 million in 10 years from my music, just music payments, Meek said. I was shocked, mad, and didn't want to really rap for any label. Now I got a real point to prove, he said. In another tweet, Meek Mill stated that one of his biggest records, a song featuring Drake, titled Going Bad, had made his record label over $24 million. Meek Mill had no clue how much of that money he himself made, if any. One day I asked how much Going Bad made, just that song, and this is him asking his record label, right? And the record label responded saying, the song made $24 million. Meek continued by asking his record label, how much did I make? All I got was I'm like, what the hell? I know all the financials to my other businesses. I signed out all trust for that whole system, Meek Mill ended that with. This is a rapper most people consider a very big name, and to his defense, Meek Mill is an extremely successful rapper. But, like the majority of artists in the music industry, the lion's share of the revenue from his own work was going into the pockets of the major labels. The language in these contracts that artists sign are very dense. The terms are also convoluted, and by the time an artist realizes the true cost of what they signed, it's often too late. They're locked into deals where their music, their brand, and even their identity is no longer their own. And instead of living this music dream they once had as a child, they're working to pay off debts they didn't fully understand, creating their music not from a place of inspiration but obligation. So this thing they once loved becomes a means to fulfilling a quota. It's a system that's been perfected over decades with the sole purpose of keeping the power firmly in the hands of the record labels while artists struggle to find a way out. And this is the truth. Most artists actually struggle. It may seem glamorous looking from the outside, but one audit of their financials would reveal a whole host of things you wouldn't ever believe. This is something that's far too common, specifically in the hip-hop culture. A flashy lifestyle is synonymous with the genre, and when rappers flaunt this luxurious lifestyle, dripping in designer clothes, driving exotic cars, and flashing stacks of cash, it's easy to believe they've made it big. But as a lot of us know, beneath the surface, this lavish lifestyle is nothing but an illusion. And this lifestyle is actually fueled by advances from record labels that have to be paid back. These advances, which most artists look at as easy money, are actually loans that many artists struggle to recoup due to low royalty rates, hidden fees, and mounting expenses. As a result, a lot of artists, probably a lot of your favorite ones actually, are secretly in debt, locked into contracts that keep them financially strained while they keep projecting an image of success. The wealth they display is often borrowed, believe it or not earned, and actually far from the true financial freedom they portray in their music. While an entire generation of artists continue to trap themselves in a cycle of debt and control, and the industry continues to evolve, and the tactics they employ in order to keep as many artists as they possibly can under that system, which becomes even more advanced by the second. A standard recording deal typically offers an artist what they call an advance, which is essentially a loan that must be repaid through future earnings. So in other words, this advance represents what they view as a potential return on their investment, because they're not giving anybody a big ass loan out of the kindness of their heart. It's business. They're banking on the fact that they will make this back somehow, some way. Artists generally receive a royalty rate between 10 to 15% on album sales or streams, meaning they only earn between $1 to $1.50 out of every $10 of revenue they generate. Now the label keeps the rest to recover costs and profits. However, and this is the kicker, these royalties are paid only after the advance is fully recouped, and numerous hidden fees like marketing and production costs are deducted from the artist's share, which honestly, it makes it very, very, very difficult for an artist to see significant earnings from their music. I mean, think about it. You receive this big ass check, okay? It's called an advance, but it's really a loan. And the intended purpose for this money is for this money to be spent and allocated towards your career. Even if you make a bunch of money on that first album, and this is something a lot of artists don't think about, unless the money you made exceeds the amount of money they gave you, you're still gonna be in debt to the record label, because that advance they gave you still needs to be recouped. And so the question is, what happens in a scenario like this? Well, let me tell you what happens. The artist ends up renegotiating their contract, okay, because they now have the leverage to do so. If the percentage in your original contract states that you'll be receiving 13% of revenue your record makes, well, now when you're renegotiating, because they see that you're a success, right? You have proof of concept, they might bump you up to 15% or 18, which is on the high end, and that's not so common. 15 is the most common number. What's psychologically going on here is the artist now feels lucky. They think, I was able to negotiate 2 more points, which is another word for percentages. You know, that's the terminology they use in the music industry. So points equals percentage. Not only was I able to bump up the percentage I'm gonna make, but now they're offering me another advance. It must be my lucky day. Well, slow down, Padawan. It ain't your lucky day at all. The labels will always be willing to renegotiate with you if they see that you're selling. They will also always be willing to give you another advance. Now the question is, why are they willing to give you another big ass check? Well, let's do the math. If you sign for, let's say, 3 years and 3 albums, and they give you $300,000 as an advance, and by the time you get to your second album, you've managed to pay off $250,000 of that advance, which isn't likely for most artists, by the way, because the royalty fee they're giving you is it's just so small. But that's another conversation. By the time you get to your second album, there's still $50,000 for them to recoup. And this is when we get to the renegotiation. They bumped you up to, 15 points, and now they offer you $500,000 as an advance. You take the money, and now you're $550,000 in debt. All before you made a single cent off of your own music. This is what we call keeping you in a perpetual state of debt and deficit. As soon as you receive that payment, they just put you in a deeper hole, and you fell for it. Now, there's one really good thing about this and one bad thing. Let's start with the good so I can break you down later. The good thing is that you don't actually have to give this money back to the label. That's not how this works, because a record label will only offer this amount if they see potential earnings in your future. And most times the amount they give you is slightly higher than what they expect you to make. So they're the ones taking all the risk. That's the appeal of an advance. You're spending a bunch of money on your music career that is not yours to begin with. You're not the one putting up the dollars. And that's why this business model is so effective. You get a bunch of money with practically no risk on your end. This is, however, when we get to the other side of it. Although you don't have to technically pay that money back, one thing that's generally present in these standard recording contracts, the the majority of artists sign is this word right here: in perpetuity. What this essentially means is that there's no end date. This is forever. Once the artist signs that contract, they now own all the pieces of music you released under them in perpetuity, i.e. forever. This is why ownership in music is the #1 way to wealth. Wealth that the big corporations who own the music pass on to their grandkids, while the musician who's slaving away in the studio is stuck in a cycle of debt. That's why they'll never be able to escape the cycle. They're not meant to escape it. And that's why I personally think signing to a label in this generation is completely obsolete. You don't need it. 9 times out of 10, the only reason why an artist would want to sign is because of fame. A record label is essentially the engine that propels an artist to fame. They'll put you on all the big billboards and the late night shows. They'll help you plaster your face in different parts of the industry that you yourself as a one-man show can't reach. And there's nothing wrong with wanting this, since everyone wants different things out of their career. If fame is what you aspire to get with your artistry, then signing to a record deal is definitely the right move for you, 100%. However, if you value your freedom as an artist more than the recognition, well, make sure you stay independent in that case. Being an independent artist is more than just a fancy word. It means that you're ready to do whatever it takes to keep being free. There's a price to everything in life. You're either going to have to pay by submitting to the shackles of the music industry, or you're going to have to pay with the discipline and self-reliance needed in order for you to keep the train going. Most human beings in general don't have this kind of drive, which is why the independent artist is becoming so rare. Not everybody is ready to put in the work necessary. The ones who are and stick it out have the potential to really reap the rewards while still maintaining sovereignty. And the ones who don't give up their freedom in exchange for control over their own work.
Out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah. You appreciate
Michael Jordan. What about him? His dad, right?
All right, guys, give me a break, all right? Come on, guys. Bill, give me a break. Guys, that's enough. That's enough.
Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. They want to monetize and traumatize. And God loved me.
You thought you escaped the system, but they never planned to let you go. They just put you on a different leash, one made of gold. The black elite were handpicked, trained, not to liberate us, but to guard the gate that keeps us trapped. They dress it up in diamonds and call it success, but it's just a collar with shine. They'll send the jet, they'll pour the drinks, they'll keep you high. As long as you never lift your people up. Deals, endorsements, covers, control. Gold chains are just modern shackles, and interviews are rituals to keep you inside the script. You made it out the hood, cool, but look around. Who else got out with you? You're not free, you're just a new tool, used to keep truth out of reach. Say the wrong thing, you disappear, say the real thing. They replace you before you finish the sentence. You weren't chosen to lead us, you were chosen to keep us quiet. Because gatekeepers don't open doors, they guard them, and they've been watching you.